Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. Myself, Kim McAllister. We will be getting into day 2 of Donald Trump's hush money trial with David Pecker. I just like saying his name over and over and over again. We'll get into what the crime is, you know?
I think it was Mars in the chat that said, oh yes, David Pecker. He comes from a long line of Peckers.
Exactly. That is a guy whose last name had to be hard growing up, right? Like and I don't mean that to be a pun.
Develop a thick skin, unless you come from billions of dollars, in which case everyone wants to be your friend maybe, and no one's making fun of you. I don't know.
Yeah, people are making fun of the last name Pecker.
They're making fun of you behind your back for sure.
Exactly. I mean, that's just an immature joke. Any Peckers out there, I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about David Pecker. But yeah, we'll get into that. We'll also get into something that is being proposed in San Francisco that I think is misdirected. And so I think, Kim, we might disagree on this, but we'll get into that as well. Click the thumbs up button and please make sure you have subscribed to the Nikki Maduro Show and hit that bell. We will have Loretta Lynch on this Friday.
Yay.
Should we tell them about our plan for Friday?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so Friday, I am recording Loretta Lynch because she can only record outside of any possible live time. Kim wouldn't be there, whatever. So I'm recording my interview with Loretta Lynch, but at this point, things shouldn't change. We are going to go live with it. So we'll watch the interview and then we can take your comments. We can kind of catch up a little bit on Friday. Yeah. So there will be a live portion on Friday as well. So there's something to look forward to. I promised you guys that I would let you know. And also on Friday, I'll give you guys the survey results of what you guys have been thinking about, kind of the format and what we can do. And so we'll all figure it out together. But make sure you are subscribed and you hit that bell so, of course, you don't miss a moment. All right, let's get into Pecker on day 2. You know what are you having this conversation with people in your life, Kim, where I've heard it constantly in the recaps of the court case or the trial, even though it's only been 2 days. Where's the crime? That's kind of the Trump attitude. What crime? What crime? What crime? There is a crime. Now, again, we talked about this yesterday. I understand that people influence, right? The term influencing an election, encouraging voters to vote for you. I get all that, but it's the cover up that always gets you.
So to me, one of the key things we have to focus on is not that what the Inquirer was doing with the catch and kill. You know, when you get down to the gravamen, the center of the crime, it's about the payment for it and the use of funds and whether that's a campaign violation. That's what transforms this from a misdemeanor to a felony. And so the catch and kill, the idea that a newspaper would cover certain stories, not cover other stories, as Elliot said, that's fine, not a crime. What we have to focus on, and this is all the groundwork, we have to focus on the business records and whether there were false entries in the business records. And then as the next step, did those payments constitute a campaign violation, a federal campaign violation that they were covering up? So it's not, to say election interference, it's sort of not quite accurate for what the case is truly about, which is the payments. The payments were illegal and the records were falsified to cover that up.
So there you go. For people that are just constantly not understanding what the crime is and was, that's it. It's the cover up of his misdeeds. Exactly. And you can't do it. And you sure as hell can't do it and become president of the United States.
So Trump says it was legal fees.
Legal fees. I just write a check. I don't know what they're for. My ass,
what does legal fees mean? Legal fees, that's not payoff to somebody. Yeah. Legal fees are monies paid to your attorney for legal services rendered. Legal fees are not give her, $100,000 or whatever it was to shut her up for the election. That's different.
And it's also not a campaign expense. It's not a campaign expense. You can't couch it that way. You can't. I was listening to one interview this morning and they were saying, you can't buy a suit and call that a campaign expense. Campaign ads, there's rules regarding this. Okay.
You can't buy a suit? I would think you would be able to buy
well, no, you can, but you can't you can't say, oh, I look good in the suit, so I'm going to use it as a campaign expense. There's rules on what you can use and identify as campaign expense. It's like that Schitt's Creek scene. I don't know how many of my fans out there where David starts this business and he thinks everything's a tax write-off. Mm-hmm. And his dad's like, what are you talking? He's like, it's a write-off. It's a write. No, not everything just because you like it is a write-off. Not because in your mind you want it to relate. And so maybe in Trump's delusional mind, and I'll be honest, he is delusional. So maybe he does think this. He's like, I need to, 1, suppress bad stories, 2, not piss off my wife right before I want to, do this election. Sure. 3, pay off this woman. Of course, this is all a campaign finance expense because I got to cover my ass. He might truly believe that, but he believes a lot of nonsense, and it doesn't make it not a crime. It doesn't make it not a crime. So that's it. And not a lot of people are buying it. Now, we were talking before we started the show about Melania. Where is Melania? So a reporter, an intrepid reporter, decided to scream that exact question at Trump while he was, I think he's exiting the courtroom right now. Here you go. Mr. Trump, what do you think of David Pepper? You happy with your ratings, Trump? Does Fletch have any credibility? Oh, that wasn't the one. I wanted it to be the other one. Hold on.
So
there's a better one.
Where the reporter says, "Where's Melania?"
Yeah, it was supposed to be like, where's Melania? Let's say
she's selling jewelry.
She's selling jewelry. Anyways, he doesn't say anything. He just kind of pumps his fist and he's like, yes. And like everybody's a supporter of him. But the GOP is not entirely rallying around. I think anybody within the GOP that isn't total MAGA is just kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe this guy. And this is your candidate, people. This is the guy. I just don't get why people stand
and
next
yet
to him.
He won again yesterday in Philadelphia, was
it? Pennsylvania. Yeah. Right. The primary was called for Biden and Trump. Yeah, no crap. Who's even paying attention? Who's even paying attention?
He's a defendant in a criminal trial. Yeah. He was a defendant in a trial where they found him liable for sexual assault.
Yeah.
He was found guilty of basically being a fraudster and having, undervaluing or overvaluing his companies. He's a crook, an assaulter, and a criminal.
Yep, and an adulterer.
That's the best you guys can put in?
Exactly, that's the best. That's the best they can do. And then there's, of course, those within the GOP that I sort of have, a little respect for.
I think everybody has made their own assessment of President Trump's character. And so far as I know, you don't pay someone $130,000 not to have sex with you.
I love it, Romney.
Wow.
Which, no truer words were ever said. No one pays that much money, and you didn't get anything out of it. Donald Trump screwed Stormy Daniels. Period. End of story.
He has never said he didn't, right?
Well, no, I think he doesn't. No, he said, I don't even know who she is. I just wanted this to go away.
I thought
blah, blah,
the whole interaction with them, the physical interaction, wasn't in dispute. It was just the way he paid her for it.
I don't think it's in dispute for anybody that's been watching Donald Trump. I think that he's still trying to deny it,
clearly.
Though. Yes, the guy. And again, I feel for Stormy Daniels. I wouldn't want to see the guy naked. I'm not trying to body shame, but I don't want to see Donald Trump naked. Matthew, my kind of hottie? Yes. Donald Trump? No.
I saw a meme the other day that said, who would have thought a porn star would save America?
Exactly. This country is founded on a lot of things, and pornography and prostitution's one of them. And you know what? I have no problem with it. But if I was Melania, steam would be coming out of my ears, because no matter how this case plays out, she's kind of screwed, because even, God forbid, he gets off, the humiliation of this all, nobody's, rest in peace, but it's like OJ, right? Nobody thinks that he didn't do it. Everybody knows he did it. And I should just sit there like the good old wife and be like, yeah, love you, honey.
I would argue that she knew going in that he was a philanderer. Right? Because look what happened to his first 2 wives.
Well,
so you have to know this is going to be the path. And so there's probably some type of agreement. I'm guessing here.
There better be, Melania. Don't be an idiot. Yeah.
But to have it play out in public like that.
Yeah.
It's one thing if they have an agreement and it's on the down low. But it's
Right.
another thing when they're sitting in court and they're talking about all the people he slept with.
And
Because
yeah,
that McDougal lady is going to be called as a witness too.
exactly.
I
And
mean,
it's
there's a
surprising.
long line of people he slept with while married to her.
Well, McDougal's going to come. So they started with David Pecker, and then Karen McDougal's going to come up. I mean, we
Mhm.
still haven't gotten to the meat. Like Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels are going to testify. Now,
Mhm.
how vulgar do we think this is going to be? I mean, does Stormy Daniels have to prove that she had sex with Donald Trump? Like, does there have to be some sort of smoking gun, or is it just kind of like there's the check, there's the money? And I'm sorry, Michael Cohen is not digging into his own pocket to pay off a woman he didn't have sex
No.
with. He's doing it for Trump.
Mhm.
So, but I just wish, and I said this before, I just
Well,
wish Melania would turn on Trump. I just wish she
doesn't
would.
Cohen have tape? Don't you remember where he had some type of recorded conversation? I'm sure
About
that'll come out.
specifically saying, well, yeah, I mean, I'm still
Mhm.
waiting for all of that to come out. I mean, again, Michael Cohen served time, and the audacity of Trump to be all, he's a convicted liar. You're a convicted assaulter,
Yep.
sexual assaulter, and nobody seems to bat an eye at that. You lie all the freaking time. We're not supposed to care about that.
And I would also a convicted liar.
Yes.
Because when your Mar-a-Lago's worth, I don't know, however many
Very
billions,
true.
and it's not.
Exactly.
Lies,
Exactly.
lies.
Well, and I'm not saying, and I just want to, before we switch gears, and I'm not laughing at this guy. Okay. I'm really, really not. But I'm just saying a woman scorned, a woman scorned, a woman scorned. Now, I don't think that Melania Trump's going to do what Lorena Bobbitt did to John Bobbitt. What was it? 30 freaking years ago. You guys remember the case. There's the couple right there.
Mm.
That's John Wayne Bobbitt. Lorena Bobbitt was his wife. And more than 30 years ago, she made headlines after they were having a very contentious marriage. And it was June of 1993 where Lorena used a kitchen knife to cut off John's manhood while he slept. She then drove around with it before throwing it out the car window. The incident marked the end of their marriage. I love that line. Like People magazine needed that line. That marked the end of their marriage. I would say so. If you cut off my member, if you cut off a body part, we're done. We're just kind of done.
So did she do that because she was angry that he cheated? Or did she do that he was angry that he was an abuser?
Well, yeah, she claimed at the time temporary insanity, that she was being abused and all those sorts of things. But again, apparently John had said on a docuseries in 2016 that he has no ill will against Lorena, saying, quote, "We both hurt each other. I wish her the best." Well, thoughts and prayers to John Wayne Bobbitt, because he's not doing well. I don't know if you've heard this. How many times have you heard those commercials or seen it on TV about Camp Lejeune? So it's like this camp, military base in, I think, North Carolina or whatever.
My husband was serving there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the water extremely contaminated. There's all these lawsuits because of these health things. John Wayne Bobbitt has had all of his toes amputated because of it. Now, the only reason that I bring this up is one, obviously John Wayne Bobbitt was a pop culture type of news story back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he seems to be fine.
Toes.
But like, how many appendages? Let's for lack of a better word, does this poor guy need to lose in his life? Right?
He's got some bad luck. Let's just say
really bad luck.
Yeah.
Like if there was, I'd be like, really, my toes too, right?
Is it bad luck or is it karma?
I mean, geez, I feel like the manhood was like, if we're gonna say karma, that was the karma, right? Like you got what was coming to you with that. That was enough. But to then lose your toes.
Is this some type of diabetes that happened to him?
No, it's a reaction. I guess it did nerve damage because of the contamination at Camp Lejeune.
Oh.
It caused nerve damage and osteomyelitis, which is a bone infection that leads to ulcers and requires skin grafts.
Oh, wow.
And then during the last surgery, he had to have his toes amputated. And it all started, of course, with the contamination at Camp Lejeune. Is that sad? I mean, it is sad. My heart doesn't go out to, abusers or whatever, but God.
I mean, I guess it could be worse. He could have had a full amputation. So
can you walk? I guess you can you walk?
Yeah. I think it would affect your balance, but you would probably learn how to compensate.
I mean, maybe there's some sort of, maybe you can have prosthetics. I don't know. Oh, he does. I'm looking at the other article. He wears prosthetic shoes and walks with a limp. Well, I would say so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of been like, really? He didn't lose enough. I guess he just didn't lose enough.
I feel so.
Thoughts and prayers.
I mean, I don't know what happened there, but you feel bad for anybody who.
I feel bad for him. Yeah. Absolutely. All right.
Did they ever attach the first thing he lost, or was
yeah,
that a no?
Remember, he was like in a porno.
They found it
to Stormy Daniels.
Was he really?
Yeah.
They found it in a field and put it back on.
Something. Yeah. I don't know if it was the exact same. I don't know what happened, but I remember he did a porno.
Oh.
I don't Google it.
I won't.
I'll leave it up to all you, Nikki.
I don't need that in my
listeners.
search history.
Exactly,
no.
Exactly.
There's no amount of incognito that'll make that go away.
That's so funny. All right. One other story I wanted to do closer to home. And this, I'm sensing that we're going to disagree on this, but when I read this story, all I said was that's complete BS. So in San Francisco, there is this corner store on McAllister and 7th Street. And every night there's about 100 people out in front of it. And they are, dealing drugs, talking with friends, blaring music, smoking, whatever. Okay. They're also going into this corner store, Plaza Snacks and Deli, buying food, soda, coffee, in addition to other, paraphernalia and stuff that they sell at the store. Okay. And then they, of course, go back outside and they're there till the wee hours of the morning. Well, London Breed, the mayor of San Francisco, is apparently really fed up with this, that she's introduced legislation that targets corner stores like Plaza Snacks and Deli for, quote unquote, perhaps unintentionally, but contributing to the drug market and late night crowds that instill fear in residents. Okay. So she's proposing that all of these stores in the Tenderloin, now this is just in the Tenderloin, cannot operate between midnight and 5 a.m. It's a 1-year pilot program. And then here's the kicker. Any store that violates it is fined $1,000 for every hour they are open between midnight and 5 a.m. Wow. This is my thing. One, anti-loitering signs. I mean, right? Like, you cannot loiter here. I am allowed to call the cops. I can break up this crowd. Like, you can't be in front of my store. Move it along, move it along, move it along. Okay. Why do we punish the store? Why don't we send security, law enforcement to handle the people doing the wrong thing? I always feel like the punishment is misguided. It's hurting the business owner instead of the actual people committing the crime.
So San Francisco is in a world of hurt.
Okay.
Crime, open drug markets.
Right.
Mayor London Breed has to do something, and she's got to figure stuff out.
Right.
Right. I like what you say about why don't the police come and clear out the loiterers?
Yes.
Well, because there's not enough police officers. They can't do that. And they can't stay stationary on that corner then to make sure that people don't congregate. And when I lived in the city, this is, I don't know, God, a while back, right? In the early 2000s. When I drove to work at KGO in the evening, there were always people congregating outside certain stores. And this isn't even in the Tenderloin, but in some other rough areas that you drive past.
Right.
And they were, a bunch of people outside of stores. And I don't know if there were drug things going on or whatever, but it was definitely intimidating enough that I wouldn't have parked to go into the store.
Right.
There's nothing good is happening there. So
you sound like my dad. Nothing good happens after midnight. You can just come on home.
So on one hand, I get what you're saying about penalizing the stores, but on the other hand, you got to do something. And it's really a bunch of trouble in the Tenderloin. And if this pilot program after 1 year shows, that they've dispersed the crowds and that the normal places where people are trading drugs has been removed from these areas that are populated and full of crime, then I'd say that's something that works. There have to be new ideas to make this stop. It's not acceptable anymore. It's not acceptable to have this happening in public. Or even in private. It's not acceptable to have the city look like this, to have people act like this, and to have the other residents in this area have to pay the price. This is
and I agree with you. And I do agree with you. I mean, something needs to be done. I just wish that the mayor, again, instead of looking to the business owner to solve what is actually not a business problem, because he's just selling his goods. There's a picture in the Chronicle, if you guys want to read the article. Guy's just sitting on the ladder, doing kind of security to make people don't shoplift and whatever. But they're doing a business, and business is hurting in San Francisco.
Right.
So we're instead of figuring out the police, maybe partnering with businesses to have security, have some of those ambassadors work the tenderloin for some areas or something, or for some time overnight, just to be a presence. But to make a store that's making money during certain hours, give that up and then penalize them for just trying to make a living. I agree with you, but I just wish there was a different way of doing it without forcing a business to shut down.
Here's the question that I have is, and I guess we'll know after a pilot year program if her legislation passes, is it just shuffling the problem somewhere else?
Of course it is.
Are you breaking up the crowd, or does the crowd just congregate further down the road, not outside of a store?
Right.
Maybe in an area in a dark parking lot or something more nefarious.
You know what? If you're going to do nefarious things, do it in a nefarious dark ass corner. I don't want it in front of my store. You know what I mean? Like that's, I'm just going to say, Kim, back in my day, let me get out my cane. People did things in the darkness, the cover of darkness. They didn't do it, out in the freaking open. And that's the problem. It's the audacity, for this, the theme of the show, of people to just do it like right there in front of the door. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And, I feel for the owners. The Board of Supervisors would have to approve this piece of legislation. And so who knows if it's actually going to pass. I can imagine some business owners might be against it, but again, not all stores. So this Plaza Snacks and Deli, they stay open until 3. So they'd have to pay $3,000. And I doubt they make $3,000 in between those hours. Restaurants, bars, and event halls would be exempt that are in the Tenderloin from this piece of legislation. And again, I just don't think it's pro-business at a time when San Francisco is trying to support businesses. So if this Plaza Snacks place goes under, you think that's going to attract anything good in the Tenderloin of all places? I don't think so at all. I think that London Bridge should come up with something else. I think we need more police officers. I think we need to work with security. I would rather spend that money, keep the store open, and hire a security guard that when people come in and out, hey, like this is our property, like this is our line. So you can go over there.
Would it be a security guard hired by the store? Because they probably can't afford that. Or would it be a security guard, instead of closing down the stores, the city hires security guards?
Maybe, or at least
stand on the corner where every store is located.
Make it part of your beat. Put a police officer out there. Make it part of their beat that they have to, drive around a certain number of times. If they see people congregating, they flash the light, move it along.
I mean, they can't even respond to the crimes that are being reported.
We need more cops. Send the CHP friggin' out there. Send the National Guard. Well, no, they shouldn't hang out. The cops, back in my day, again, when the cops rolled up, you rolled out. Like, I don't understand people that are just still hanging out smoking crack on the corner in front of the cop. Why is there no consequence for that?
Because first of all, there's a shortage of officers. Second of all, if you were arrested, there was no consequence because you had a DA that didn't care and judges that didn't apply the proper penalty. And so they kick you back out. Then the police arrest you again. And it's a cycle. Finally, the police are like, why are we bothering to arrest these people? Nothing happens.
That's a terrible attitude.
It's the same thing over and over and over again. It's like Groundhog Day.
I know. It's just awful. It just kind of pissed me off because, again, I feel like it's just a misdirected thing. And I wish there's another answer. And again, it's not law yet. It has to be approved by the board. So who knows if she's going to get a lot of support. But let us know in the comments. We do go back and read the comments if you leave them during the live or if you do it after the show airs. Let us know what you think. I mean, do you agree with Kim that, you know what, that's the situation the city has found themselves in and businesses just need to shut down? Or is there another answer? Let us know in the comments. Again, you guys, thank you so much for supporting us. The survey is still live. Like I mentioned at the start, we'll go over some of the survey results on Friday. The show is going to be live on Friday with a recorded element because Loretta Lynch is going to be on the show on Friday. She did an amazing op-ed in the Chronicle regarding PG&E, and there's all kinds of stuff about CEO pay and Poppy can kiss my butt. God, how much money that woman makes and how much I have to pay to not have heat in my house. gets me so angry. So yeah, definitely that's coming up on Friday. We'll have more content for you tomorrow as well. But please support the show. Go to thenikkimadoroshow.com. And we really appreciate all of you that have really stuck it out with us as we're trying to revamp this show in a way where we can still be here for you guys and still obviously get other jobs. So go to thenikkimadoroshow.com. Our Patreon link is there. Please support the show. We really appreciate it. Our PayPal, just go to paypal.com, hit the send button, and put in the email address, thenikkimadoroshow@gmail.com, thenikkimadoroshow@gmail.com. And of course, support our sponsor, Auntie Tabby's Island Flavors. Go to auntie-tabby's.com/Nick Kim or Nikki M or NIKKIM, whichever way you need to remember it. You get 10% off every single order. There's the hot sauce. I literally just had it on some ham I made for dinner.
Oh.
It was so freaking good. I mixed
Did
it with
you
the
do
guava barbecue sauce and the hot sauce. I did it again.
Hibiscus or pineapple?
Yeah, I did the pineapple. It was so
Okay.
good with the ham. Ooh, so freaking good. So it was very yummy. AuntieTabby's.com/Nikki M. Nick Kim. You get 10% off every single time you order. So thank you guys so very much. All right. We love you guys. We will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.